was going great and you had no doubts. But then you lost your job and now you're freaking out. How are you going to earn some more dough? Just listen to the Gary and Crystal show. Your net worth was climbing.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the Gary
and Crystal
live version.
Exactly.
So we're doing it live today. We have a special show, actually, and that's why we're doing it live.
Exactly. You like our song?
I love the song.
Yeah, it's our new theme song.
Yep, it's from our friend Rob
Newmeyer
in Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Exactly. And at the end of the show, we'll have a link. So if you like this song, check out his webpage on myspace.com.
Cool. Do it.
So what is this show going to be about today?
Well, today we're going to talk about, this is just kind of a little side theme in the bad of economy that we're in, is actually talking about what you would need to do if you need to raise money, in a hurry, like within 5 days or less, and
exactly,
and maybe you can't or unable to get something from a more traditional source like a bank.
You need to raise money.
Yep, without printing it.
Right. So it's like, right, exactly. You need to raise money quickly in an emergency. And so today, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the number one way that people raise money. Actually, we have about 10 different ideas.
Right. So they're going to be in different shows, but today we're going to focus on family and friends.
Exactly.
Because those are usually the people you're going to go to first.
And when you borrow money from family and friends, it could be the easiest person to borrow money from, or it can be the hardest.
In most cases, probably for most people, the hardest.
And why would it be the hardest?
Because it's just, it crosses the lines of that close friendship or family.
Right.
It throws something into that dynamic.
Right.
It's a little uncomfortable for people.
It can be. And so what we wanted to do is really focus on some ways of borrowing money from family and friends if you have to minimize any conflict in that relationship. Because oftentimes when you borrow money from a family or a friend, if things don't work out the way both parties agree to, then that can end up causing hard feelings.
We don't want that.
No, we don't. So
because those relationships are important.
They are very important.
And keep them in good standing.
Exactly. So what is the first thing you would suggest?
The first thing would be to put this, whatever the situation is, put it in writing. Write it down on a piece of paper. I'm borrowing, $1,000.
And why would you put it in writing?
Because it's like a record of it. And it makes it to a certain, it's somewhat legal.
Right, exactly. A couple of reasons, really, because if I borrowed $1,000 from Gary and I died, a week later, if it wasn't in writing, what proof do I have?
That's right.
And so one advantage of having it in writing is that, if I do die and if I have an estate, let's say I have some life insurance, then he has something tangible that he could present to a court in a way that might allow him to get repaid. On the other hand, if it's not in writing, it's more of a he said, she said, and,
Right. Although we're not giving you legal advice.
We're not giving you legal advice, and we should have qualified that. Right. We should have qualified that
But
up
I know
front.
one. I know a good one.
Yeah,
so
who?
Just call
yeah,
me.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, seriously though, we're not giving legal advice, and so the more complicated your agreement and the larger the sum of money that you're borrowing, and we do recommend that you seek legal counsel, even when borrowing from family and friends. Even if you're drafting a simple agreement, you may want to have an attorney look it over.
Right. And the second thing would be, once you have it in writing, we feel that actually putting in some kind of a structured payment plan is probably a good idea too.
Right.
In other words, you're going to pay, $50 a month or $100 a month.
Right. So it's not enough to say I'm borrowing $1,000 from my mom, but I do want to have a repayment plan in place. So if I'm borrowing, let's say from a parent, I'll say like, Mom, I promise I will pay you back $1,000 in a 1-year time period, and I will pay you, since I'm unemployed right now, I may not be able to pay you for the first couple of months, but in month 3, I'll pay you $25 a month. Month 3 through month 6, and then after that I'll pay you $100 a month, or just whatever. The advantage of borrowing money from family and friends is that literally you can draft the document based on your agreement.
So that's a good idea.
And
then the other thing we talked about is offering collateral.
Right.
So
and the whole purpose behind offering collateral is that you want to make the person, let's say if the person is a little bit reluctant to loan you money, if you have collateral, they may be more willing to loan you money. And then also just to let them know that you're really serious, because if you give them something that you feel that has tangible value, they know you're not going to give them the collateral unless you really mean on paying them back
so
the
I could
amount
say,
that you borrow.
This is collateral, and I say, Crystal, can I borrow $1,000 from you?
You can borrow maybe $50.
Well, how about how about if I borrow 1,000, but until I pay you back, I'll give you the captain to hold on to.
Right. And the thing about collateral is that you have to have a meetings of the mind. So if I think he's only worth about 50 and he thinks he's worth about 1,000,
It's
then
a bank.
either, yeah, but it's a bank with no money in
It's
it.
empty.
Yeah, which is why you're asking me for money. So, either I can have it partially collateralized, up to $50, which is what I think he's worth, or I can ask for more collateral. And I'm sure you have more than just a captain, don't you?
I could probably find something.
Yeah, so find something.
Where's Mrs. Captain?
Yeah, right. So what else? You may want to offer what? An interest rate?
That would be another thing, to offer to pay interest on the loan, and that again, that gives it more legitimacy. And they may say, people, especially if someone's close, you may say, oh, you have to pay me interest. Well, you can say, listen, I'm making this a business transaction, and I feel that that it's, you're doing me a favor. I'll pay you interest on the loan.
Exactly.
And, come up with some sort of an interest rate. It doesn't have to be real high like a credit card, but at least kind of giving them something for the effort.
And the one thing to keep in mind, though, because a lot of times when you're borrowing money, you're borrowing cash, and when you're paying back in cash. You want to really make sure that that's in writing. So if you're loaning somebody money and you're loaning it to them in cash, make sure you have that in writing, because if I borrow $1,000 from him in cash, and I may later on, 6 months from now, may get kind of forgetful and think I may only owe him about like $500. And so if he doesn't have it in writing, then what? I mean, what proof does he have that he loaned me $1,000? By the same token, if I'm paying him $100 a month and I'm paying him in cash, and let's say I paid him 6 months worth, I paid him $600, he may say, oh, no, you didn't, Crystal. You only paid me $400. And if I have no receipt, what proof do I have?
And it may even be just an honest mistake.
It could be an honest
They may not remember.
mistake.
They forget. People forget. You might forget. So
Exactly. So what happens if you're not able to pay the person back? You made an agreement, and you said you're going to pay $25 a month. You thought you were going to get a job in 3 months, and you didn't get the job. So then what?
You leave town.
Okay. And aside from leaving town, what else could you do?
Cry.
Yeah, crying is really a good suggestion. That might work. I don't know about leaving town. And my advice actually would be to talk to the person.
Sneak back in the house and get the captain and leave town.
Yeah. The thing is, if you have collateral, then and you're not able to pay the person back, depending on the agreement that you have, you may lose your collateral, and you have to keep that in mind. So when you give up collateral, it's not, it's something that you have to kind of keep in mind, that if you don't honor your end of the bargain, you may end up losing that collateral. By the same token, you may be able to renegotiate the loan agreement.
Yeah, the main thing, though, is if that situation comes up and you can't pay them, the best thing to do is you're going to have a sit down and talk with that person, tell them your situation, and try to work something out.
Right.
Like she said, maybe you come up with a different payment plan. So maybe instead of paying $100 a month, you say, listen, I can't do that, but I'll pay you $25 a month.
Exactly.
For a while at least, and then try to get back into paying them more. If you get in a better situation.
Right. And I had that situation where I borrowed money from a person. I was having trouble paying my rent. This is like ancient years ago. But I ended up borrowing money, and I wasn't able to pay them back. And so I called the person. I told them about my circumstance. I'm an excellent typist, so luckily I have a skill. I told them that. I knew that they needed typing services. They did projects where they needed a lot of typing work done, and I offered my typing ability. And so instead of paying them back, they accepted me, my typing.
Right.
And I did that for about a 3-month time period, and it really worked out. It was actually a win-win situation. Actually, it was kind of funny because at the end of the 3-month time period, they were so happy with my ability to type for them, and it was mostly because I threw out documents in the middle of the night or whatnot. That they didn't even want to let me go. They were like, Crystal, we helped you out when you needed help. So,
yeah,
now why you? Yeah, it was kind of funny because they're like, why are you quitting now? And I'm thinking, well, you only pay me minimum wage.
Yeah. And
it was a time when I really needed the money, but now I'm on my own 2 feet. So,
right.
But it actually was a compliment. I felt really good about it because it made me realize that, they must have felt that they really got a good deal, just like I felt like I got a good deal.
Right. So you can offer to do services, yard work, painting the house, fixing something for them, babysitting. You can get creative. So that's another way, to maybe in lieu of your money, you can offer them services.
Right.
And I know we're running out of time, so we're going to have to wrap this up. But
right.
Hopefully these are some good ideas that you just keep in mind if you find yourself in that situation.
Right. So next time we'll talk about some more ways of raising money quickly.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. Everyone.
was going great and you had no doubt. But then you lost your job and now you're freaking out.